Hey everybody, it's Marshall McHugh, and this is going to be my Fantastic Four movie review, talking all about the train wreck that happened in this movie, but that everybody else says. Not for me. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, so let's get started on this review. So, yeah, this movie got majorly trashed on, all the internet. Everyone said it was a horrible movie, that you shouldn't go see it, that it was the worst film ever, maybe even this year, like all of the movies from this year, and ever. Yeah, and it even got 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. 9%, that's crazy. So, yeah, this film had a lot of problems, and I'm gonna run it down. But, yeah, it just had a lot of problems from the start. So this film was basically a new origin. It was the reboot, of course, everybody knows that. It's the new origin that they've created, kind of. I think it was based on, something called the Ultimate Comic or whatever. They wanted it to be more sci-fi, more serious than the last films. If you guys remember the last film, the last Fantastic Four, it's more, I think it was a little bit more comedy rather than, actual sci-fi, like they did in this new reboot, which was good because their movie, the last Fantastic Four franchise, brilliant. It was actually really good. The cast was great. I feel like they all made their mark on that, and it was really good. It was actually really fun, full of heart. It still had a little bit of seriousness in it. When Reed and Sue's wedding, all just crazy stuff that happened in that last one. This film really had a lot of problems, and I think some of the reasons why are because that they didn't do a little bit more less serious tone than they should have. So let's talk about a little bit more about the characters. So in the last Fantastic Four, in the last franchise, their characters already had history. Their character development was a little bit more built in rather than this reboot. Because if you guys remember in the last franchise, we opened up with them already having their history. Like, Sue already knew Reed, and we already knew all of this crazy thing. We already know Victor was dating Sue, all that stuff. So they already actually had it built in. All they had to do was build the blocks from there. They already had a foundation. This, however, this reboot had to build their own foundation, and it totally did not work. It didn't work. The characters were not very, they weren't written very well. They were written really poorly. Everything was just really messy in this movie, rather than what they did on Fantastic Four, the one before, the last franchise. They did it really well, because they already had to build up the blocks from where they already had their foundation. The characters already knew each other, and they built it. Mostly, they wrote it well, too. They wrote the last franchise really well, too. This franchise was also written very bad. It was written very badly, but it was still fun, not fun, but, it was still a movie to watch. If you are a fan of Marvel and you really like Fantastic Four and you just want to see how this plays out, that's what I am. I really like the Fantastic Four, and I thought it would be an okay movie to go see, even though I knew that it was already trashed. So, yeah, I went to see it. So my advice to you is to know that it is a bad movie before you go see it. If you want to go see a bad movie, it's not bad, but if you want to go see an okay movie that has a lot of problems in it, but still is Marvel and still has superheroes in it, go see it. But if you don't, just don't waste your money on it at all. So that was one of the problems, is that the writing for the characters. There was no character development whatsoever. I think most of the things that they were really confused about when people watch the movie will be like, okay, so the Fantastic Four just now got their powers. We just now see Sue turning invisible, we see Johnny, blah blah blah, you guys know that. But then we jump ahead to, Dr. Doom just coming in here, and he's just Victor Von Doom coming back, and it's just oh my gosh, didn't he just disappear a few minutes ago, and then we time jump to this area, That's one thing that I didn't like, is how they edited the film and made it just so crazy. Rumor has it that Josh Trank, the director of the film, had his own cut of the film, and he said that it was much better, a little bit longer than, I don't think he said it, but the rumor has it that he had a cut of the film that was much better and, much longer than the original cut that they used for the film, yet the studio overruled him, that's what the rumor is, and then he didn't get to use his cut, so they used this final cut that they made, and it was just all, So, it might be the studio's fault that we got this final cut, rather than what we could have got from Josh Trank's original cut of the film. So, that might be another thing why it didn't really work out as well as Josh Trank wanted it to work out, because he had his own cut, which is, kind of what happened. I guess that's what the rumor has it is. I don't know if that's true or not, so, don't take word from me, but I don't know. So another thing that this film just really didn't do well was that editing, that they didn't do very well. The character development, Completely zero. There's zero character development in this thing. I feel like the actors are really talented. You know, Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller, Kate Mara, Jamie Bell, just all the cast. All the cast was very talented, yet they wasted a lot of that talent with this awful character development that they had in the film. Just totally out the door, wasted that talent that they could have used for a better character development, to write these characters better than they usually did. So yeah, one of the things that I do know that is that it was actually pretty good at the first part of the film. One of the things that everybody is saying is that the first 2 acts of the film were very great. The last one, yikes. That's what I have to agree on that. They did the first parts really well, the film. Like if you see like how Reed and Ben were when they were kids, that was really entertaining. I actually really liked that part. Or when they were at the science fair. That was actually very funny. I actually really liked that part. Yeah, it got slower and slower, and it's a train wreck. You know, it was on track, and then boom, something unexpected happened, and it just fell off the rails. That's what I have to say what this movie is. A good example of something that starts out good and then ends up bad. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about this film. You know, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed watching the movie. It was still a okay movie to go see. If you do like superhero Marvel, if you're really a big fan of that, which I am, and I really do like the Fantastic Four. I loved the last franchise, what they did with it. So, but this one just didn't seem to have that heart that they had. The tone of this movie was very dark. You know, it was very a serious tone, which is what they aimed for. They aimed for a sci-fi kind of different approach, but that just didn't work with what these actors can do. You know, Miles Teller, I think the last big project that I think he did was not only Divergent, but the one before that, which was with Zac Efron or whatever that movie was called. I don't remember, but that was comedy, and he was apparently really good in that, I hear. So, you know, it would have been better if this had a little bit more comedy rather than, you know, like the last Fantastic Four franchise. It was actually pretty good. It was a really good movie, I thought. And so, you know, rebooting it with this reboot, no. You know, I don't think they'll be making a sequel. If they did, good luck. But sequels, as it is, are already hard to make a success. So if you're going to make a sequel to this film, I definitely don't think it'll be as good as it is. So, yeah. But let's talk about the actual film. So, yeah, they get their powers from a teleporter this time. If you guys remember last time, it was the storm cloud. This time, it's a different dimension, and it's like a radioactive dimension thing that goes wrong. I don't know. But it was this thing that went wrong into this dimension that got them their powers. The fire bursted at Johnny, the rocks got into Ben's capsule, you know, and then the force field hit Sue. So that's how they get their powers. It was more of a disaster rather than what happened last time. So it looked more disaster. One of the things that I did like about the film, though, is that they did terror very well. They woke up in this lab. They didn't know where they were. They had strange abilities. They were, you know, one of them was on fire and you couldn't turn off the fire. They were just all scared, which is what they did really well. They actually did that part really well. So I have to say, that one was actually a good exception. Like, that was a good example of a good part. It was like one of the only parts that was really good at the film. Yeah, one of the things I didn't like is how Reed just left. I felt like we saw he was working on a single capsule. So if they were to make another film, I think maybe that would be what would happen in the next film, like a single capsule. Because I think that's what they were trying to tease. I don't know. It was really hard to tell from the film of how it was made. So, yeah. And then, like, Ben just going after Reed, and then all this stuff, taking him back, going back to the base. Dr. Doom just appears, and, you know, it was a really bad cut of what happened. But it was still fun to see their powers in action. I feel like we didn't really get that much of their powers either. So, yeah. One of the things that the last Fantastic Four did really well was that they had the public know that they were real. This one just seemed like weird. Like, Johnny in the last one named the Fantastic Four. Like, he made that Fantastic Four. And then in this one, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, they all came up with it. The public doesn't even know about them. Why are they even giving themselves a team name? Are they going to start fighting crime? Or are they going to just use this lab? They were kind of implying that, but it was lost, you know? This film, kind of a train wreck. You know, I think what they'll do, maybe in a few years, like 6, maybe 7 years, reboot it again, maybe try again. If they do, we're going to have to see how it works this time. I feel like they should put a different team on it, with, you know, different actors, and try again in maybe 6 or 7 years. Well, maybe not 6 or 7, but like maybe less than that. But, you know, whatever they try to do, if they're going to reboot it again, different team on it, different actors, just kind of make it distance itself from the last reboot. So that's what I had to say about this. So overall, character development, 0. I give that a 0 for character development. The tone, I give that kind of a good, not really. The overall visual of the film was really good. You know, the visuals of the other dimension and all that was really good. So I have to give that a little bit of an A+. So yeah, but on to updates. So updates. I haven't watched Girl Meets World yet. I'm gonna watch the episode. I think maybe after this video, after I'm done filming this, and then go watch the episode and then make that video and then post that as well. You haven't seen the episode, but hopefully it's really good. And then, I don't know, what else am I doing? Today's Sunday, so tomorrow will be Monday. Tonight's Casey Undercover, I'll watch that. I don't know if I'll live tweet or not, but I probably will. I'll get that out tomorrow, that review. And then the whole week just starts over again. You guys know how it goes. So thanks guys for watching this. Like and favorite this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment what you guys thought of Fantastic Four if you saw it. Did you like it? Did you think it was just the worst movie ever? And overall, rate it down in the comments what you guys thought. I actually want to see what you guys thought of this movie. I thought it was not the best, but it was still an okay movie to go see. And like I said, there are links up there, links down there, and like and favorite this video, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, too. There's lots of updates on Twitter. That is found below, in the link below. Thanks guys for watching, and see you later. Bye-bye.